Hello. We are here for episode 18 of reading my book, The Oat Project, How I Faced My Fear and Came of Age in One Wild Summer. And I've been reading it out loud online for this last, 2.5 weeks. So crazy. It's awkward being, hi, Marta. And hi, Robert. Anyway, thank you for joining me so far. This has been quite an adventure. If you haven't heard this before, maybe you have, so sorry. But a couple of months ago, maybe even like 4 months ago, I picked up the book I'm going to just readjust that just a little. Okay. I picked up my book to start reading it for writing a guide to it. I have a guy, an agent who was interested in it, and I thought, well, I've got to read the book, in order to do that. I'm just you guys get to see this. Okay. I've adjusted everything today. It's an awkward feeling day. So yeah, I have an agent who has asked for at least a proposal for a guide to go with my book, which is about sowing your wild oats late, all in one summer in 2007. And so to prep for that, I decided to read my own book for the first time in about 2 years. And the minute I held it, I just knew that it was going to be a really emotional experience and that I needed to do it for myself, but that maybe it would be good for me to face it with you on camera. So it's been quite an interesting experience. Intense. There are lots of parts I just look at and think, wow, I left that in the book. B, oh my God, I felt that way or thought that way. C, wow, I still think that way. Lots of humbling feeling this whole time. So tonight is about going lesbian clubbing. I went up to Denver to First Friday at Union Station, and it was one that I did not put on the list. Yay, my lesbian and bi and LGBTQ friends. I joined your ranks just for a little bit, which you'll see. So yeah, it's been an interesting day internally. I think I'm going to be talking to you more after this on camera. I don't know. This feels pretty good to see you guys here, and yeah, I'll just keep you apprised. So welcome. I keep trying to change my drink, and people have given me grief for not being wilder than I actually am. So this isn't whiskey, but it's very hot. It looks really dark because of the molasses. It's very hot Earl Grey tea, so that'll keep me going tonight. So welcome, and let's get to it. The things that I say at the beginning of every one are that you can buy this at the link in the description if you want a hardcover or a soft cover. It's lighter. And the full playlist is on YouTube, my Church of Wild channel that I've started and will continue to add more content after we're done here. And what else? There are parts in the book that are in italics where I switched to first person. I try to make those pretty clear. Thank you for coming along. This has helped me work out how I want to communicate what it looks like on the page. And then there are places where I say parentheses, and that means that it comes from present day, so 2016, 2 years ago, when I published the book and did the final edit at the beginning of that year. So cheers. I'm glad to know you, and thank you again. And let's just get to reading, okay? All right. I have the light on this time too. Do I? Okay. Yeah, I do. All right. 21. The 3 J's. Alignment. After getting home from the porn party and skinny dipping attempt, I was so wired. I slapped a clay mask on my face in the half dark, its green mud glowing in my palm. I lay down on the couch to read The Emperor of Scent and fell asleep. My tightening face woke me. I washed off the clay and went back to sleep, still on the couch, as I didn't want to wake Jack and Leo in our bed. I woke around 7, hungry and cranky. Jack's quiet attempts to work made moot with Leo's cries. As I fed him, Sage and Percy bickered, so I gave up on sleep and left Leo spread-eagled on the bed. Sweet boy. I made a cup of tea, and by 9, I was dressed and off to replace my car's bald tires to be safe on the trip to Denver that night. Report. There we go. Let me get that for you. At the beginning of the project, everyone except the Christians insisted I fully explore the gay/lesbian world. Stella suggested Union Station's monthly lesbian clubbing night, first Friday. Dancing always sounded fun, but none of the Oat Council responded to my invitation. I asked Owen. He said his 20-something gay friends went to regular clubs, not gay or lesbian ones. But we can dance together, I said. Well, my style is... And he paused in his hesitant way. My style doesn't usually go well with other people's dancing, especially girls. My heart sank. Why am I dismayed? You never know until you try, I said. True, Janae, he said, agreeing with a small smile. Erin eventually said she'd love to go and even drive, and though my morning's rush and getting tires was needless, I was glad. When she picked me up, she was dressed her usual, perfectly cute and sexy, but this time I was not dismayed. I had gotten closer to the mark. White dinosaur t-shirt, super short jean skirt, parentheses, the one Jack hated, black fishnets, black sneakers. I felt comfortable and liked how I looked, ready to dance. Maybe this time I'll forget my nerves and lose myself in the moment. We had a good time on the hour's drive north, getting to Union Station not too early, like Erin and I had clubbing a few weeks before. We walked inside and I was immediately disappointed. Do you think more people will show up soon? I asked Erin. Parentheses, I still like dancing within a crowd instead of alone. Still get shy with too much room. True. I don't know, she said, sounding like she didn't care. Owen offered to buy us drinks. Gin and cranberry? I grinned as the night of drunken splendor poured over me again, and I said, yes, please. We explored the huge building, finding an empty room with wood floors and high ceilings. I forgot that this part is in this chapter. Oh. Erin started dancing, and I joined her, working hard to let go of my nervousness with Owen there. I could have stayed there, just us, all night. Our dancing styles seemed to mesh fine, though who knows what Owen thought. Sit up a little. Eventually, I headed to the bathroom. In the quiet, I was making a few notes when someone pounded on my stall door. Janae, Erin yelled, why are you hiding in there? I'm making notes, I said, opening the door. Get out here, she said. It's time to immerse, girl. She pulled me out of the stall. Get out there and ask a girl to dance. But how do I sputtered. Just pick one, she yelled. Immerse. I looked upon the masses of infinitely cooler than me girls, all clearly having the time of their lives. Most of them have done way more than kissing a girl. Aaron's hand on my back interrupted my nerves. Go, Janae. Okay, I said. I will. I'm going to go look for one to ask, okay? I'm watching you, she said, laughing. Owen grinned too. I managed a smile and walked around the edge of the dance floor, staying in the shadows, seeing girls flirting with each other, girls making out with each other, girls alone looking envious. I stopped for a second and saw Erin craning her neck looking for me. I turned to go the other way and saw the perfect girl. Short, dark hair, cute, standing on the edge of the floor, her whole body moving to the 2 and 4 of the beat. Maybe she'll dance enough like me to have fun. I took a deep breath, now or never, and walked up to her. I don't recall what I said, though it was probably along the lines of, hi, would you like to dance with me? She had smiled at the hi, then frowned a little when I asked, looking to her right. I wondered why, and then it didn't matter, because we were walking into the crowd together and dancing. I paused and held out my hand, saying, I'm Janae, and then had to lean in to hear her answer, Jane. We danced nothing alike. Whether from her high heels or preference, she stood in one place and bebopped exactly the same way as on the sidelines. I forced myself to dance like her, but was quickly bored. If I were actually looking for a date, this would be over soon. I started to dance around her instead, flirting, determined to be myself and have fun. She giggled. I laughed with her and then got nervous again, and my southern roots resurfaced right there in a lesbian bar in Denver, Colorado. So I tried to make small talk, pausing the crazy dance moves, and said, my fishnets keep falling down. Oh, let me get that for you, she said. My mouth tried to make words, but only hung open as she dropped to her knees and briskly pulled up my fishnets from my ankles to my thighs. Her hands didn't linger, and her smile and there, after finishing, were matter-of-fact and sweet. I grinned, bemused. Thank you, I said. Parentheses. I wonder now what my face looked like and what she read in my expression. After dancing a few more minutes, I shook her hand. It was great meeting and dancing with you. I need to go check on my friends now. Have a great night. I felt relieved to walk away. Aaron and Owen were dancing together. So it looks like you were having fun, Janae, said Aaron, waggling her eyebrows. I joined them dancing and said, I did have fun, though she couldn't keep up with me. I looked at Owen and dared him to say something, but he just smiled, motion drinking while raising his eyebrows in a question. Yes, please, I said, nodding. Aaron and I kept dancing, intersecting every now and then. I lost track of time, sinking into my body and its rhythms. Each pair of feet around me seemed like another place and party, telling different stories. That girl liked the one next to her. Her face was nonchalant, but her feet moved closer at every opportunity. Those feet were hurting, dancing to minimize high heels pain. I sank further into myself, feeling my body take over the moment. Eventually, I looked up. Owen stood a few feet away, holding drinks, watching me, grinning. For a half second, I thought he was laughing at how I danced. But no, he looked like he wanted to stay there forever, backlit by spotlights and smoke, drinks in his hands, smiling with complete delight at me. I was sweating and stopped dancing to drink my gin and tonic. Thank you, Owen. You're welcome, Janae. You were watching me dance, I said. Yes, I was, he said. Do I look ridiculous when I dance? I can't believe I actually asked. His face grew serious, while retaining its glee, and he looked me straight in the eyes. Exactly the opposite of ridiculous. The opposite. Something in me loosened and relaxed. When I had done tasks with others over the summer, I'd been on a stage. They were with me, yes, but they were also there to see what might happen, what I might do. Thus, I had worried about them, had held back or pushed forward according to what they might need. Rarely had I been unself-conscious. It meant the world to me for it to happen here with Owen and Aaron. I was safe with them, not considered silly or dumb, just me. I smiled back and we danced the holding a drink dance. I didn't see where you were dancing, I said. Over in that corner, having fun dancing by myself, he said. We had rejoined Aaron when Jane came up, presenting me with a $20 bill. Hi, Jane, I said. Aaron, Owen, this is Jane. Jane, my friends, Aaron and Owen. She bobbed her head and then said, my girlfriend would like to buy you a drink if you'd dance with me. She seemed very serious. Nervous. She seems nervous at talking with me, like I get with a hot guy. Who's ever been nervous talking to me? So weird. Thank you, I said, but I already had another drink. She really wants us to dance. If you'd like to, that is, she said. Aaron and Owen watched. Sure, we can dance, I said, but why can't she dance with us? She doesn't dance much, she said. Go get her, we'll all dance. Parentheses. Was I aware of the undertones of her request and my suggestion? Not at all. Am I more aware these days? A teeny tiny bit. As she left, I realized it had to be pretty late in the night. Aaron leered at me. We're all just going to dance, I said. Mm-hmm, she said, laughing. I'm not even looking at Owen. Jane returned with a girl shorter than her, looking sheepish and dressed as a boy. Do I say dyke? Is that weird or rude? I don't know. This is Janine. Nice to meet you, I said, shaking her hand and smiling. Janine, Jane, and Janae? That's great. We all laughed and I said, let's dance. We made a circle and got to it, but it soon became clear to me why Janine didn't dance much. She seemed to be disabled in some way. I got close to her ear because of the noise and said, so one of my favorite ways to dance is to double the beat structure, making a 4-beat length into an 8-beat length. I slowed down my gyrating. So then I'm moving on beats 4 and 8 instead of 2 and 4. In my very tipsy state, her eyes seemed bright and happy. And though this was clearly outside her comfort zone, she seemed to have fun. They left Aaron and me still dancing when the DJ's set ended. Owen joined in until at 1:30 a.m. the lights came on. Flanked by Owen and Aaron, I left happy. On the sidewalk outside, Jane and Janine intercepted us. Oh, it's nice to see you again, I said. We were wondering if you'd like to hang out now, like party with us, said Jane. Oh, thank you so much, I said. I'd love to, but I have to drive back to Colorado Springs and get back to my family tonight. They looked crestfallen, so I said, but it was so nice to meet you both, and I hugged them goodbye. Walking across the parking lot, I linked myself between Owen and Aaron's arms, feeling wholly at ease. You know, Janae, said Aaron, they wanted you to go home with them. I sighed. Yeah, they wanted to keep partying, but it's so late. Honey, she said as we got in the car, I mean, they wanted you to go home with them. What? I said. You could have had a threesome and your first time with a girl, she said, laughing. No way, I said, seeing the night in a new light. They were hitting on me? I've never had that happen. You've never realized it was happening, said Aaron. I'm sure you've been hit on by a girl. Wow. I dozed on the way home, smiling. Page of journal. Journal. This day feels gone already, and I just woke up. Can't handle these day afters. Journal. To what shall I give my life? I have to get through this before I can know. Journal. It is as though Owen and I are moving toward the center of some continuum of chaos. He from chaos, me from stasis. In understanding each other, we know ourselves. We're not at the same place, but we are in the same spirit, reevaluating inner and outer landscapes, goals, ourselves. Journal. I have too much thinking to do. So much to write down, yes, but so much to integrate that I almost need more input. So many feelings to figure out how to handle. What do I do with these thoughts? Are they things? Are they intention? Are they real, ephemeral? Will everything go back to normal? Do I want normal? Journal. I'm sitting at Rico's watching a man. He came for a signing, but got the date wrong. He's probably in his 70s. And he is bereft, moping from one bookshelf to another. He buys no coffee, tea, or wine. He pouts, asking his ride to come back. He sits, staring blankly, waiting for her to show up, muttering and huffing. Maybe he's actually ill, like Alzheimer's or something, but if that were so, would he have been left alone? Why can't he enjoy himself? At first, I feel compelled to help him, though he looks well off. But my usual nicey compulsion is checked by the certainty that he needs to figure it out on his own. Light dawns. I've reached the same point. I've tried to make this project safe, to be smart. But my need for support has diminished because it had to. It was more fun with Aaron and Owen at the lesbian dancing, but I didn't need them. Am I getting back to my real self, the loner? I'm beginning to feel comfortable in my own skin. I'm the only one of me ever. Most certainly this point could only have come through the love and support of my family and friends. Why should I be afraid? Why should I do or wear or say or think anything I don't want to? I live according to my choices, yes. Family, for instance, which results in duties, yes. But this isn't the Middle Ages, and I'm not a serf. I can choose how I spend my time on this earth. Do I want to bind myself to goals that limit me, or do I want to live free? No question, really. Free. Journal. I am overwhelmed. Can't stop crying. What is this life of mine going to look like? Which wall must I get beyond? To see things as they really are, to not be afraid to risk, to be true to what I know, Jack and I. I'm scared shitless. Journal. Owen has been a crutch, a welcome one, and I needed him. Do I still need his help for this project? Now he's my friend, his company wanted but not needed. Or am I still flailing and needing help but can't admit it? I don't know what I want. And that is the end of that chapter. And I'm going to plug in my computer again. I forgot. Okay. There we go. Work. Okay. So we're only 24 minutes in, and I think I'm going to go ahead and read a little longer. I have another short chapter, which is one of my favorite chapters as well. Okay. Chapter 22. The Moon, a Fox, and a Fox. It's all you. It was the day before the last day of the project. Hang on, I forgot. Hi, everybody. It was the day before the last day of the project. Also, the first day of school. I had put off doing the skinny dipping task all summer out of fear of getting caught. For who knows what reason, I had also put off getting a full body massage, so that was scheduled for right after I dropped the kids at school the next day. Then the tattoo was at 4 p.m., last minute as always. The tattoo was my badge of achievement, so I had no choice but to skinny dip this night. Ellery and Aaron had said they would go with me, so I went to Rico's early to write, expecting them to call around 9. No calls. I had been so focused on the project that it surprised me when others weren't as on task. But as I had learned, this was my project, and others were understandably focused on their own lives. Erin finally called and canceled, as she was exhausted from school and would be going to the tattoo with me the next day. Finally, at 10, I called Ellery. Thank goodness she was still up for it. Phew. Report. Kindred. I was talking on the phone when I pulled up to her house. A man and a girl stood out front, staring at me sitting there, so it felt a little awkward. But a minute before I hung up, Ellery walked out. I got out and met her husband and sister-in-law. Ellery wore shorts, socks, sandals, and a puffy down jacket. She looked quintessentially Colorado. I said, that's not going to cut it, pointing to her shorts. Oh, come on, she said, laughing. It's close enough, isn't it? No, it's not, I said. Parentheses. It's so awesome reading this after 9 years of friendship with her. Now I know she had absolutely no qualms at getting naked and was probably wearing what she'd worn all day. But I didn't know her well enough and thought she might want to skip it. She was being playful, not avoidant. Aw, friendship. Their enthusiasm and glee at our plans alleviated some of my nervousness. We headed to the all-night cafe 15 minutes west in Manitou Springs, where Owen and I had often chatted. On the way down Manitou Avenue, we noted possible hotels with pools. We sipped and talked about life, love, sex, food, everything. All fair game. She grew up in a conservative Christian home like I had, worked for a Christian organization, left her religion, chose paganism, and came out of it a heart-centered, graceful, honest person. She exuded love in a shy, mischievous way. We talked, and suddenly it was 1 a.m. Eek! We have work to do, I said, laughing. We drove back east. It was the first under 50-degree night of autumn, and we were skinny dipping. Mom and pop hotels in various states of beauty, cuteness, or disrepair lined the avenue, most of them showing a no vacancy sign. Our certainty that we could find a suitable pool hopping place crumbled. Every pool was locked up tight, fenced, gated, right next to the office, or so brightly lit and close to the street that we might as well have shone a spotlight on our naked rumps. 40 minutes later, we grasped for options. A heated apartment complex pool a friend had recommended felt too private. This task was supposed to be public and risk getting caught. Ellery suggested, I hope I don't get in trouble for admitting this. I don't know who to ask. Oh well, here we go. Ellery suggested America the Beautiful Park. I was skeptical but desperate, so I turned off the Colorado Avenue Bridge and parked. I'm actually kind of blushing. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Sorry, Susan Edmondson. It was deserted, but well lit. Named after Catherine Bates' song, this large park is right next to Monument Creek, where Indians and soldiers camped outside brand new Colorado Springs over 100 years before. It's also right next to I-25, highway noise a constant background. It's our main park. We parked away from the bright lights of the pavilion and headed for the fountain, walking on the grass to the left of a walkway, flanked with shrubbery and two frenetically flashing pillars, mockeries of the Washington Monument. A large expanse of lush green grass ended at a tall, open ring of a fountain, its backdrop Pikes Peak. Ellery was a little ahead of me, turned to wait, then pointed behind me and quietly said, "Oh, Janae, look." A stag had walked out of the bushes a few yards away, his huge rack of antlers gleaming in the low light. I slowly backed up to get a better look, and he turned his head and looked straight at me. I dared not break his gaze. We stared at each other for a full minute. He seemed to say, "I am wild and have found a way to prosper, to live in this non-wild place, and so can you." Tears filled my eyes. "Thank you." He looked away and crossed the street, heading for brush and bushes next to the train tracks. I breathed again. Wow. I looked at Ellery, and we both said, "Wow." The grass was so beautiful. Colorado Springs climate is high, arid, semi-arid, semi-desert, so thick turf is a luxury. We walked underneath the ring sculpture. I gazed through its open center at the stars and small solitary clouds. Perfect. I don't think we're going to be doing anything here. It's too cold, too open, and I'm too chicken. At our altitude, public pools and fountains close on Labor Day, the risks of a hard freeze too high to keep them open. So the giant sheet of water, usually cascading from the top of the rotating ring fountain, was gone. But the retaining pool was still full, though full meant 18 inches of water at its deepest. I dipped my hand in it. "It's not as bad as I thought it would be," I said. "Yeah." Ellery felt it too, then took off her shoes and stepped in. "Ooh, how is it?" I said. "Not that bad?" "Oh no," she said, laughing. "It's butt-ass cold." And yet she was still walking around. "Come on, Janae," she said. "We have to do this now." Parentheses. 9 years later, I know this brisk tone of hers very well. I hesitated. I don't want to do this. Why do I have to do this? And then I thought of our mom friend we would see the next morning at the annual mom's first day of school coffee time. I said, "I can just see Beryl flipping her red hair and tisking us if we didn't do it." "Oh my God, yes," said Ellery. So we stripped, folding our clothes and putting them on the slate ledge next to the pool. I stepped into water 18 inches deep. Oh dear Lord, it is truly butt-ass cold. We waded to the deepest point, and I settled in the corner next to the bridge between the pool and sculpture. We squatted at first and then sat, knees clamped together and drawn to our chests. Shivering made me puff like a dragon. My limbs hurt and tingled. I did not put my hands in the water. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I couldn't manage more speech. We were still smiling, though. Well, of course we are. Ellery and I are kindred spirits. So we smiled. Can hypothermia bring on euphoria? I wondered. I still glowed from the force of the stag's gaze. We sat for 10 or 15 minutes. easing our lower thighs, then knees into the water. My knees did not go willingly. Do you know the constellations? I asked Ellery. I had always planned on learning them. Yes, I do, she said. I knew she would. We looked up. I can't concentrate because I'm so cold, she said, but okay, there's Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia, I repeated. And Orion, she said. And, oh, Janae, look. I looked down from the sky. A fox was drinking from the opposite side of the pool. We held our breath. He drank for almost a minute, then looked up at us, walked to his left, jumped up on the ledge, and sniffed our clothes. He kept going to his left along the ledge, about 15 feet away from us, moving briskly. He turned to his right to cross the bridge, and, slowing, came toward me. At about a foot from my head, he paused, looked into my eyes, cocked his head to look past me at Ellery, and then walked away, heading out across the grassy field. I let out my breath. I looked at Ellery, and she looked at me. Wow, she said. The wild things are out tonight, I said, including us. Our smiles warmed my frozen limbs. Yes, us. I looked at the water and the sky and at us. You know, we have to get our boobs in the water for this to count. We do, Ellery squeaked in a voice acknowledging truth. Yes, we must, I said, grinning, probably maniacally. I scooted forward on my bottom and then leaned back. Don't get your hair wet, because ouch, I said. I leaned back onto my elbows, but the water only reached the base of my mounting breasts, rising above the water's surface. I looked over at Ellery's boobs and saw they too were high and dry. They looked rounder than mine. I looked at mine, and they were pretty too, just different. And you just stopped nursing a child, Janae. Oh yeah. Okay, I said, we're going to have to do it another way. We sat up. No, please, begged Ellery. Yes, I said, laughing again. I took 2 deep breaths and forced my knees apart, spreading my legs out wide. Wowsy, that's cold. I leaned forward into a deep bend until my breasts were fully submerged. Ellery joined me, whimpering. We held the stretch for a couple of minutes until I suddenly got a gut feeling, though maybe it was frostbitten breasts, that it was time. I think we need to go, I said. Yeah, asked Ellery. She could not hide her relief. Yes, I said, we've done it right. Already, I was feeling strong, powerful, and giddy. We have, haven't we? Said Ellery. I can't wait to come here when other people are here and brag, I said. This is truly, totally brag-worthy. Oh, yes, it is, said Ellery. We stood into air that felt warm compared to the water and waded back to our clothes. I grabbed my shirt and said, no way am I putting on my bra. Oh, we have company, she said. I looked around the pool, expecting another animal, but Ellery said, over there, pointing across the grass at the pavilion. I didn't see anyone at first, but then a man moved against the light. I quickly grabbed my jeans. Comanche it is, I said. What if it's a cop, I thought. Visions of being arrested and the shame of being on the sexual offenders list shivered through my icy limbs. What? Ellery said. No underwear, I said. In Oklahoma, they call it going Comanche. Ah, we call it going commando, she said. I do it when I run out of underwear. Yay, I'm not the only one. Me too. We hurried, keeping an eye out for cops. As we walked barefoot across the frozen, dew-crusted grass, we saw the man was a backpacker. Phew, not a cop, I said. Our feet froze with each step. By the time we reached the car, my feet were aching and colder than they had been in the water. And, as it happened every winter since we had bought this 10-year-old car, I was eternally grateful that I drove a Volvo. Those Swedes understand cold. Breathing a little easier, I cranked up the seat warmers and heat. In about 3 minutes, Ellery sighed. Ah, heat warmers. Divine, I said, as my rump warmed. Home, Ellery, or to food and warm drink? You know, food and drink sound good, and I'm actually awake, even though it's almost 3, she said. But it's almost 3. And we have to drop off kids and be at Mom's group in 5 hours, I said. And I think I'll be wiped and ready for sleep in about 30 minutes. Home, then, she said. Yes. But on the way, I saw the labyrinth. Do you want to take the time to end this here? I asked. Oh, yes. So we parked and we barefooted it again to the brick courtyard. The last time I walked this path, I was hurt, furious, crying, and panicking on the night I got drunk for the first time. This time, I could not stop grinning. We hugged at the center. Thank you, Ellery, I said. No, thank you. In the car, I said, I can't stop smiling. I know, Ellery said. I sensed it every time I passed you. The labyrinth felt so different from the last time I was here, I said. I feel free and clear and grounded and wild this time and comfortable in it. Wow. Yeah, wow. Truly wow. I dropped her off and finally got home. I fell asleep at 4. 2.5 hours later, I was up readying the children for school, then on to Hagia Sophia to meet with my mom friends. Ellery didn't make it. I know what she's doing, sleeping. But I told them about the night before. Beryl, our fiery, red-haired friend, approved and did not toss her head or tisk me. Mission accomplished. I slept with Leo during his nap for a whole hour and a half before my massage. And then the last task of this project, the tattoo. What a day. I fell asleep thinking of how I might skinny dip more in a pool, a lake, a river, a waterfall. I live in Colorado, for crying out loud. So that is the end of chapter 22. And let me see here. Oh, okay. Since we're kind of a short night, I'm going to go ahead and read this very, very short chapter. And then tomorrow night we will tackle the tattoo chapter, which is longer. So this is the next morning, 2.5 hours later. Short, sweet, and needed. The lock-in. Oh gosh, I don't know if my dad is on. I don't know that I've ever told my dad about what I'm about to say. All right. The lock-in. In the summer between 7th and 8th grades, my dad heard the call of God to move from Ohio, where I had put down roots, to Oregon. For Nazarenes, moving was usually how to advance professionally. My life would have been so different if we had stayed in Ohio. I was on a vocal and arts honors track in school with friends and mentors. I had gotten contacts to replace my bottle-bottom glasses that summer, and by the end of my 8th grade year in Oregon, Clay Culvert's words had come true, at least in how others saw me. Despite my shyness, my new friends convinced me to try out for the cheerleading squad. Me, a cheerleader. I knew they voted for me because my singer's diaphragm made me the loudest at tryouts. Pause. If you ever need anyone to yell for anyone else, I got you. Just saying. My hair had grown long and chestnut glorious. I was well built, though I thought I was fat, and eager to please, a personality trait deeply ingrained from being a pastor's kid. I still experienced clinical depression that year, missing Ohio, crying myself to sleep every night as it rained every day. The 2 years we lived in Roseburg had only 14 days with no precipitation. But I became one of the popular girls. I can only see this from much later. I thought they were all being nice to the new girl. The coolest girl on the cheerleading squad once whispered in my ear as we despaired of getting the others to learn a dance routine, "You're the only other one besides me who can dance." It was one of the highest compliments I had ever received. I had friends. I crushed on my chemistry lab partner. Nothing ever happened. I even occasionally skipped class, though it was approved, to make posters for games. Me, skipping class. When I hope someday that this finds Scott. I need to check out Facebook for him. Just wait. When Scott, the best friend of the boy I liked, orchestrated our, quote, dating, it lasted exactly 2 days. We were so shy, we couldn't talk to each other. Had we stayed in Oregon, I may have dated Scott instead. He accepted my invitation to a church lock-in at the local YMCA, where our youth group was locked in the building until morning. We were to invite non-Christian friends so they could have fun and listen to a low-key appeal to give their hearts to Christ. Games played, friendships sealed and broken, devotions held. Even if no one got saved that night, maybe they would like the group and decide for Jesus eventually. Parentheses. This, quote, friendship evangelism, befriend non-Christians only to, quote, bring them to Christ, became to me a pernicious lie Jesus would abhor. He befriended and helped people before he asked them to believe in him. It turns faith into network marketing, a pyramid scheme for Jesus. Ridiculous. I'm not against Christians trying to meet the needs of society in order to serve, but when the intent is to convince, it gets twisted. Soapbox. The YMCA had set aside a napping room. At some point, either Scott or I offered a back rub. We sat on top of a sleeping bag in the nap room. I don't remember if I had gotten a turn, but I was sitting on Scott's butt, rubbing his shoulders and back, so close to wild, when I heard my dad call my name down the hallway. In 1 second flat, I was off Scott's back and bundled into a sleeping bag across the room, 15 feet from him, feigning sleep for my life. "Janae?" my dad called from the doorway. I convincingly muttered, eyes half open. "I'm sorry to wake you, but we're about to start devotions." "What?" Scott said from his all the way across the room, so how could he have anything to do with me, sleeping bag? "We need everyone in the gym," said my dad. "Okay," I said, rising. "Oh, hi, Scott." Even then, I could act. I never kissed Scott, and I've never had the guts to ask my dad if he really bought my acting that night or if he was acting too. We moved to Texas the following summer. But that back rub remains vivid, backlit by the light in the hall, my dad a dark shadow. Report. If wishes were fishes. When I told people that massage was on the list, I was shocked at how many of them had never had a full body massage. The perception remains that it is a luxury, or squicky, new agey, or too personal. It was none of those things. It was marvelous. My muscles seemed to be saying to the massage therapist's hands, "Where have you been all my life?" It was so good that I wondered what sort of person I would be with more regular appointments. How happy, how content. I bet I'd lose weight. I wonder if it would take away my panic attacks. If Jack were a massage therapist, would it be a work thing or would I get a daily rub down? If wishes were fishes. The sensation of kneading, of being a lump of bread under a baker, how they moved the blanket around my body to cover all but what they worked on. So modest. the infinite level of my bliss, making it exquisitely painful, knowing it would end much, much sooner than I wanted. I could wax eloquent, gushing, wishing, envious of all those who get touched like that regularly. But more than those rambling words, trying to convey how it is top 3 of my favorite things ever, this is all I need to report about it. Parentheses. I will consider myself truly rich when I can afford a weekly massage. Goals. And that is the end of the 23rd chapter, shortest one. Tomorrow is the eye of the storm, about the last task. So we have gotten this far, and we just have the tattoo chapter. Excuse me. The tattoo chapter and the epilogue left. So tomorrow night I will be, let's see. Yeah, I'll be reading the tattoo chapter, and then the following nights, Monday night, I will be reading the last chapter of the book, which is the epilogue. I can't quite believe we're at this point, but I am very, very happy to have been with you guys for all this time. I think I would really, really appreciate it if you have questions, if you haven't listened to all of them, and I will, if you have a question that's answered in another chapter, I'll go ahead and say, hey, it's in another chapter. But afterwards, maybe Tuesday night, I would love to kind of have a conversation here on Facebook about if you have questions. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. It's all up to you. or message me with questions that you'd like answered after I read the epilogue, or now, and I will be as real as I possibly can be, which is too real, right? TMI. Yeah. I got more stuff in my head, but it will come out soon. Okay? I'm going to let you go without much more comment. Thank you again. Do check out the YouTube channel, and if you do get the book, or you feel like you've read it this whole time or listened to the whole thing and want to leave a review, I need to do my due diligence as an author and ask you so you leave a review on Amazon. And that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday nights. Go out there and be wild as you wish, without hurting anybody, or yourself. But yeah, have fun. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.